First of all, we'll just start on the League Cup then. Final game. How important is it to win at the weekend and ensure you get that top spot in the group?
Yeah, it's really important to us. I was watching East Fife on Tuesday, so again, by no means will it be an easy game. They made things really tough for Queen of the South. Thought they grew in confidence in the second half, so got a pretty decent indication of what they are. Knew quite a lot of the personnel anyway, so but it doesn't change the task for us. We know that we have to go and try and win the game. But again, I've not really changed over the last couple of weeks. I've said that every single game we've played, we've approached it with full focus and the intent to go and try and win the group, so that doesn't change for us. Probably a slight bit more pressure, if you like, just in that East Fife have had a really good campaign. They've done really well to this point, you have to acknowledge that. So from our point of view, we just make sure that we're prepared, and we look forward to the game. We look forward to playing at home yet again.
Yeah, we know that if you do win the group, it gives you a better chance for a better draw in the next round. How important is that, and how important is the cup competition, and this competition in particular, for Motherwell this season? Because obviously it represents you with a realistic opportunity to Silverwood.
Yeah, I've referenced this a few times. How many opportunities do you get in your career to go on a proper cup run and have that opportunity of silverware? Now, I'm not saying that that's where we sit and that we're demanding that we win this trophy, but I just remember a few seasons back, Motherwell under Stephen Robinson, 2 cup finals. You look at the buzz and the real positivity that gives a football club. So of course I've always seen it as an opportunity to try and go on a run. Winning the group's important, as you rightly say, then it makes you one of the seeded teams. But either way, I just think as a professional, each week, every game you go into, whatever the competition, I always just see it as an opportunity for success. And I constantly think about this, what your CV as a player, what have you been able to achieve, what have you been able to do in your career. It's not just a case of playing games for the sake of playing games. I was fortunate, I never played always at the highest level, but I was fortunate as a player to win silverware and win trophies and win promotions and things like that. You never forget them in all your career, so whether that's this cup competition, whether it's a league campaign, it's so important that we get a group of players that have that mindset of always trying to add something to their playing record, and I think that's important. I think that's a driver in itself.
Just finally, for me, looking ahead to the league campaign, I think we're 9 days away. How close do you think you are to being where you want to be? What still needs to improve over these next 9 days?
Yeah, I think we've looked at different aspects. I think the level of consistency is always the most important part. Now, over the stretch of pre-season and the competitive games we've had to this point, I would probably say that there's been certain aspects which have been better than others in each game. So again, for me, it's just trying to ring fence that and make sure that we get ourselves up to a real good level in every facet of the game. I've already mentioned we know we still have to strengthen our squad. We still have to give ourselves more option within the group. There's no secret in that. I think a lot of clubs are sitting in the exact same position with somewhere in the regions of 5 weeks or so, just over 4 weeks to go in the window. So yeah, there is still time, but you want to get there as quick as you possibly can, no doubt about it. And I think it's just that clarity of message. I spoke about it for 14 games last season. We have to start with that clarity of message and have that understanding of kind of what plan A and plan B looks like for us as a football club. But it's safe to say we've been working towards that right throughout pre-season, and I'd be hopeful as we go in towards the first league game of the season that the players have a real good understanding of what we're about and what they can bring individually to what we're trying to do collectively.
It must be quite difficult, Stuart, in the League Cup group stage at this point, because if you look at other clubs that come on it, Gabeen last night, St Johnstone are already out, Dundee United even though in the Championship look as if they're not going to go through as well, but yourself, you've managed to get through, not lost a game yet, and you've had to try and blood some young players as well. How difficult a balance is that? Because you're wanting to give them a chance, but also you know how important that progression is.
My catchphrase at this time of year, and the staff here will laugh, it's not that easy. We all think in theory that you're just going to turn up, win 4 games as a Premiership side and just saunter through into the latter stages of this competition. It's not easy. I'll reference myself. I've been one of the smaller clubs. I've been there as a player. I've been there as an underdog, and you know the motivation you get against playing against the big boys and the teams at the top tier. You want to go and show you're a good player, you're a good coach, you're a good manager, and by picking up a couple of results, it really starts to add to your reputation, if you like, as a club. And I've seen that already. I've seen that from some of the clubs in this tournament. That's why I like it as well. I have to say that's why I like it. I know a lot of people think that it can heap pressure on you as a manager in a football club. Well, it does, but I think we should all probably thrive on that pressure and we should enjoy it. But there's been some good examples again for part-time teams this season, and it's just trying to get a balance, Scott. It's literally trying to get a balance. It's important to me to bleed in some of the young players and show some of the talent that we have here, but all the while we're kind of working towards getting some guys that maybe haven't had a full pre-season game time and get them up to speed. So I think that's the secret to a wee bit of success in this group, is to see if you can put all of these facets, all these elements together to try and get yourself at the top of the group. But again, I go back to it, we've no divine right as Premiership clubs just to win the group, and I think if you come off at any point, there's a number of clubs there that will probably trip us up.
Yeah. Have you obviously you're aware of the talent that the club has. Have you been surprised, or has anybody taken you by surprise over what you've seen from them over the last kind of few weeks when you've been giving them that chance?
No, I think again, if I just go back to my overarching thought about probably where you are with a club like Motherwell, you do not have the finished article on a player. So you don't have a finished article sometimes as a young player. You sometimes don't have it as a guy in sort of the middle of his career as well. And that's not being disrespectful. That's just where it is. It's my job to go and try and identify weaknesses and try and improve on them, spend time on the pitch, go through the analysis. I'm not telling anybody any different than what they know. We all talk about it, but again, for me the secret is actually doing it, spending a lot of time on it and try to see if you can reap the rewards. So I don't look at it any different from a young player. The one thing a young player gets sometimes is just more time, just because of their age and their experience. So I'm not surprised in the talent we've got, but what I probably would say is that there's a couple of guys that are teenagers and young teenagers at that have done better than I probably thought they would over this sort of 4 or 5 weeks, and that's testament to them, but they've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, and just finally for me, I know you're probably sick getting asked about new players coming in, but Connor Shields confirmed that it was confirmed that Connor Shields had left the club. Does that help you or help kind of speed things up in terms of getting somebody else in the door with freeing up that way?
Yeah, again, probably where I'm really transparent, have been for a long time now, and you're right, I'm fed up getting asked the question. But no, it was simply a case of that I said all along, that we have to move some players out before we can move anybody in. So we've been actively trying to do that. Again, I have to speak about Connor Shields. That's the player that you've mentioned. I wish him all the best when he goes over to India. Seems like a great opportunity for him, certainly financially, but also as that sporting opportunity as well, if you like, that football opportunity. But he's been excellent since he's been in, come back into football club from a loan, didn't really know him, hadn't worked with him for any period of time, and he gave us 100% professionalism and focus to his job, so there's absolutely no complaints for me. I wish Connor all the best, but it is evident that that's what we have to do. We have to try and move out 1 or 2 players that I think I'm being fair with as well, if I don't see them fitting into the system or what I'm looking to do. But by the way, these guys have known that for a period of time. It's not, that doesn't just fall in their lap one day and then they unexpectedly hear that they're not a part of things here. So that's something we've been working towards for a while. But the flip side of that is then that gives me an opportunity to bring in a couple of players if that happens. If it doesn't, then as always, I'll go and work with the players that we have at our disposal, and there'll be no complaints. I have to go and try and do that to the best of my ability. I try and back myself as a coach as much as a manager, and that filters into your remit within that.
So you brought in Davos Stavkovsky. Is he big pleased that you were deciding first of all, and does he come into the reckoning on Saturday?
Yeah, delighted to get Davor in. He's in good condition. He was away with the Macedonian national side and he's been keeping himself ticking along. Not fully up to speed, but he's had one pitch session with us, which was good. Start to integrate himself with his teammates. His English is absolutely perfect, so again that communication aspect of it won't be an issue. He'll understand the instructions and he'll be able to communicate with myself and his teammates, so no issues there. And there may be a chance that he'll get an opportunity to play some game time at the weekend, but we do need to get more sessions under his belt just to get a feel for what we're doing here and what his role will be within it. We've spoken about it at length, but it's now putting into practice on the pitch.
He's a player with a lot of potential, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think you look at his age again, his profile, the amount of games he's played, the minutes he's played in Cyprus. has been excellent, and I just think that should be an exciting one for us as a football club. It's an area of the pitch that we needed to add a fresh face, and we needed to give ourselves. And again, I'll probably go into a wee bit more detail. We know we've got a very good young player in that position, but what was important to me was to try and almost have a sort of mentor type in that area of the park. I'll speak about Lennon. He's played so well for us over pre-season. He's shown us what he's about, but it was important that I was able to try and get somebody in there that could not only play with him but sort of push him along as well. Sometimes do as I do, not what as I say, as the old saying goes. And Davo very much seems as if he could be the type that could help Lennon in that area of the park as well.
Last question from me. I know you're saying that you have to get people out before you bring people in. Are you hopefully getting anybody else over the line in the future? Yeah,
we're working hard. But again, you find yourself in a situation. I'm not pleading poverty. I'm not trying to make any excuses here. We don't have top dollar to go out and just sign players willy-nilly, pay transfer fees. We're not paying any transfer fees for any players. We're looking for free agents. We're looking for guys that sometimes, again, I go back to the flawed nature of it. Sometimes we're looking for guys that maybe have had a flawed season, or maybe haven't quite been at their best for a spell, and again it's our job to go and try and see if we can turn that into a successful season. That's where we are, and again I'm not shying away from it, I'm not scared of it, I'm not making excuses, but that's where we find ourselves. So to do that, you have to find the right one, and you have to find someone that you think that your coaching methods and your managerial skills can resonate with, and you can get the absolute best out of them.
Are there still players that you've told maybe to look for a new club at all? Is that there's still players you might leave before the end of the window? Yeah,
there's potential. There's one or two guys that we've spoken to that we've identified that they might not get that game time that they would expect or they would hope for. But again, they're our signed players. Everyone's been treated, I believe, fairly. Everyone's been given ample opportunity to show what they're about here. But there are one or two other players that we've spoken to and felt that their game time might be limited. I'm not going to go into dramatic detail about that, but again, that's where I'm very, very transparent. But the first person that hears that is the player.
Can I ask about fitness? Is everybody fit? Is it Joe Efford? Is he back in ready to feature?
Yeah, we've had that. You're asking about Joe Efford. Joe's has been struggling with another injury. He came off the park in one of the pre-season games. We've been trying to get him a bit of game time, try to get him back up to speed. But that one's been really frustrating with Joe. The number of times he's had to step out of sessions or games, etc. But no, with the likes of Joe, he's an injury. We have doubts this weekend over John Obika is another one that's a doubt. Stephen O'Donnell's a doubt. Just little things that they'd picked up from last weekend there. So we'll assess them, we'll monitor them and see how they are for this weekend.
Is it just a separate injury from the ones that you've had?
Yeah, there's been a couple of different things, to be honest. There's been a couple of different things. As I say, the last one was pre-season friendly against Dundee United, where Joe sort of came in with a complaint in the warm-up, tried to start the game and then came off very early in the game. So that's just one of a few that we've had since I've been in at the football club. And again, I can't control it. Dare say Joe can't control that either. But that's the situation as it sits.
Stuart, just one from me. How important can a transfer like Max Johnson's be for younger players in the club to be able to see that pathway and see what they can get to with a club like Motherwell?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think it takes into account everything. The academy, a loan move, coming back into a first team environment here in the Premiership in Scotland. Really short space of time as well. But again, I probably need to go on record and just wishing Max all the best. A top young man, genuinely blown away by his professionalism, how hard he works, how receptive he is to try to become better. Spent a lot of time with himself and James Furlong last season because they were pivotal to what we were trying to do, not just with their energy but with their quality, their defensive skills as well within that. And I've had contact with Max. I've spoken to his agent, and I genuinely wish him all the best. I personally think that within the situation we'd love to have him here, but if he's not, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for him. And I've said that to him, that I'll be looking from afar and really genuinely wishing him all the best. And if he needed anything in the process, I'd certainly make myself available, because he was an absolute pleasure to work with here.